Brought to you by Penguin.
Space, written and read by me, Tim Peake. Introduction. On the 14th of December, 1972, at the end of a 7.25-hour shift, Eugene Cernan lifted his foot onto the bottom rung of the lunar module's short aluminium ladder and began to haul himself up. He had thought hard about what he would say at this moment, knowing what it signified. "We leave as we came," he began, his voice crackly and breathy over the intercom. "And God willing, as we shall return, with peace and hope for all mankind. As I take these last steps from the surface for some time to come, I'd just like to record that America's challenge of today has forged man's destiny of tomorrow. Godspeed the crew of Apollo 17. Cernan had been camped on the moon for nearly 3 days at this point, and he would be there for a little while yet. Once inside the module, with the hatch secured and their dust-covered spacesuits and oxygen packs removed and stowed, he and his colleague Harrison Jack Schmitt still had a long and complicated list of preparations and pre-flight checks to complete, not to mention a scheduled 8-hour sleep to fit in, their last spell of rest in the tiny metal container which had been their shelter 250,000 miles from home. Eventually, though, it was time to go. On the ground at Mission Control at Houston, amid the banks of screens and the plumes of cigarette smoke, the usual atmosphere of taut concentration was mixed on this occasion with something more poignant. To the disappointment, frustration, and even outright dismay of nearly everyone at NASA, there would be no more government funding for the Apollo lunar program beyond this mission. After a hectic 3.5-year period in which America had landed 6 pairs of astronauts on the surface of the moon, the plug had been pulled. When Apollo 17's lozenge-shaped capsule eventually descended into the Pacific Ocean under its 3 red and white striped parachutes, it would also be bringing down the curtain on human lunar exploration. When, if ever, that curtain would go up again, nobody knew. With calculated irony, Mission Control chose to rouse Cernan and Harrison from their slumbers by piping into the module the sound of the Carpenters, singing, "We've only just begun." "Now," Cernan said when the checks were done, "let's get off." He entered the proceed code into the onboard computer. The ascent engine ignited, and in a flash of light, the module lifted off the surface and rose into lunar orbit. And with that, the astronaut, who would be known for the rest of his life as the last man on the moon, began to make his way back to Earth. And the most astonishing chapter to date in the story of human exploration came to an end. Now come forward 50 years, to the 11th of December 2022, half a century to the day since Cernan and Schmitt landed on the moon, and a little under 6 years since Cernan's death at the age of 82. Another tiny, cone-shaped spacecraft floats down from the sky under 3 striped parachutes and drops into the Pacific Ocean, this time just west of Baja, California, where the waiting USS Portland moves in to begin the recovery process. This is the conclusion of the Artemis I mission. For those whose Greek mythology is a little rusty, Artemis was the twin sister of Apollo. And that capsule, now bobbing in the water, is just back from a 1.3 million mile voyage in deep space, including 6 days on a distant retrograde orbit of the moon and 2 lunar flybys passing just 80 miles above the moon's surface. Amid temperatures rising to 2,700 degrees Celsius, it has just plummeted back into the Earth's atmosphere at a speed in excess of 24,000 miles per hour, before those parachutes opened to break the capsule's fall and eventually bring it floating down to the water at a more sedate 20 miles per hour. In the commander's seat, Captain Munikin Campos. On either side of him, Helga and Zohar. The captain is a male-bodied mannequin named after Arturo Campos, the NASA...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?